regarding the budget discussions that he and John are having with DCTA staff. And that will be part of those ongoing budget discussions to determine what that cost is for those services that would be provided in phase 1, phase 2, but that information is not available at this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Marissa can add to what I'm about to add. As far as the budget and NTMC, we are charged with the providing the labor force, the benefits, some materials and supplies and whatnot, but the contracts and things that are associated with providing the services is on a separate bucket. And so that if you need all that together, then we could work with Marissa and Nicole to get that.
Yes, and I closed that page, but in the budget workshops that we would have in June with both the DCTA board and the NTMC board, that information would include proposed service levels based on that assumption with NTMC's budget, as well as the DCTA portion of bus operations expenses. So we would have that at the June meeting once we get started with the FY22 budget compilation piece. So that our first internal deadline for the budget is due to DCTA Finance on May 7th. At that time, our budget manager works to put everything together in preparation for the June budget workshops with both boards. So we would have that information at that time.
Is that good?
Yeah, whenever it's ready, it'll be ready.
Right, that's what it sounded like. Whenever it's ready, it'll be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I don't think there's anything else on this item. And Mr. Newport, I want to thank you again for joining us today and giving us your report from Accenture, sir. Appreciate that. So we will move to future agenda items. And also, I think RJ had mentioned that Luis is on this call. And Luis, I want to thank you again for taking on your new position and working with us, continuing to be a part of our organization. And we look forward to working with you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and you're quite welcome. I appreciate the honor that I'm given to go ahead and do my job. So I thank all of y'all for giving me the opportunity.
Well, we greatly appreciate the work and stuff you've done for us so far, and we think it's well deserved. So thank you, ma'am. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and move on to future agenda items. Number 6, NTMC officers may discuss, propose future agenda items. Board members may request items be added next board agenda meeting. I know we had talked a little bit earlier about needing to look at doing some
Here, I do have a list if you'd like me to read those off.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so the first item is we're asking legal to bring back a red line version of the bylaws for discussion and potential approval. We're asking the NTMC officers to provide fair sales by type informational report. And we're asking for RJ to include in his GM report the DDTC and onboard fare box revenue information, as well as workforce statistics, including active staff on leave, in training, and then terminations for that month. And then any health benefits and payroll accuracy reporting information, and a recruitment update. I think those are all the items that I have. I do have a question as it relates to the budget calendar. If there are no other items to add for future agenda.
We had the ILA amendments that.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Richard. Okay.
I do have a suggestion for an additional board item.
Okay.
that would be for this board to consider drafting a policy around procurements so that we can ensure that the officers understand what, if any, authority they should have moving forward on signing agreements. I think that would be very beneficial for the board to provide that guidance and for the officers to understand the working parameters.
Okay. Counselor Graffiti, I'm assuming you would help us with that, getting that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Word.
We need to have a discussion first as far as what you would want to consider as it relates to that policy. Then we can put it together in a draft policy.
Yeah, I was particularly thinking around procurement thresholds, authorization, signature level authorizations. If there's an emergency, what this board is willing to allow the president to execute and then thereby ratify. It's common practice to have those things. Otherwise, you're having to schedule emergency board meetings, and sometimes it's hard to make that happen logistically to ensure that there's continuity in service. I've seen situations where there's been fires, there's been other issues, and a contract may need to be executed. And I just want to make sure that the board recognizes and has the ability to weigh in on those types of concerns and issues. So it's really around any potential authorization that the officers would have to enter into a contract, what level of authority they have with regard to the size of an agreement, if any, and then how we would want to deal with any special provisions about having to ratify an agreement if one of the officers needed to take course and do something in an emergency situation.
Okay, we can put that on the next agenda also under the procurement deal. So from what I'm hearing, did anyone else have anything else right now? Okay, no. The two items, the fair sales and the information that RJ was going to add to his report, those I'm assuming could be under the informational reports, and you just list those, and if people have questions or something, we can bring those up at that time, but we wouldn't need to go over everything completely. Is that right?
Right. The fare box revenue we'll just put under informational items, and then RJ can just include those other items in his GM report.
Okay.
Which is provided
right.
in the packet on a monthly basis.
Right. And then, of course, the bylaws, the ILA amendments, and the procurement would all need to be discussion items. Okay. And to that, the one thing I want to do is, and Councilor Graffiti, help me with this. Is anyone having any problem with this meeting at 8 o'clock instead of 8:30 to help Member Hensley, like I say, with her new role? It'll give her at least another 30 minutes to participate in the meetings, and I think she can have some good insight and input into our situation. As we know, Denton is a big proponent of this bus operation. So is anybody okay? Is everybody okay with 8 o'clock? How do we need to do that, Joe? Because I think our bylaws state 8:30. Do we need to call a special session? What do we do?
Let me check.
We had that one other time, I remember. And I think we had to do a special session.
I can't remember what we changed it to, if we just left it general, but I'll double check and then I'll get with the chair and we'll make, let's see, is this it?
In the bylaws, Article 2.06, it says regular meetings of the board shall be held at least quarterly at such times and places as shall be designated from time to time by resolution of the board. So you need to look at that resolution that we did last time, Joe.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying. That's what I don't have that in front of me, but that's what I was looking at to see if we made it general, if we specified the time. So we'll fix it. We'll make a change to that and make sure we get that back on the next agenda if it needs to be.
Great.
And then
That's
Chair
how it works.
Hugert, as
Yes,
we're talking about meetings, I did want to clarify just so, because currently we have not sent out any calendar invites for the remainder of the year for NTMC board meetings. We were waiting on discussion from this board for the calendar that Marissa provided today. So I need some guidance on how you'd like to move forward with those dates. Do you want to go ahead and set the dates as she's outlined in the calendar that was submitted?
I personally have a couple of things I'm trying to work around. I would like first, if it wasn't her, I mean, go ahead and do next month's board meeting, but I would like to wait till next month to kind of give that until I've had time to try to adjust the meetings.
Okay.
Would that be okay with everyone?
Marissa,
that gives-
that May date, is that different than our regular one? I don't recall.
8/26.
No, the May date is the regularly scheduled board meeting.
Okay, okay,
Right. Okay,
okay. So I will have Keisha send that out. So that way
Okay.
it can be on your calendars.
great.
And I'll visit with you later, Chair Ugert, on maybe if we need to do some type of a survey monkey to determine availability for some of the other meetings.
Okay. And what I was thinking on this is if we could add for future meetings, so we can do agendas, and I'm trying to make sure I stay on course here, Counselor. So for future agenda items and such, if we could have board members or staff that needs to feel like there's something they need to put on the agenda, let our president know, our secretary know. I don't, do we want to do it to the president and the president inform the secretary? Or I'm not sure.
I think
How you want to do that?
I think Nicole would probably agree with me. She'd rather me go ahead and continue to handle that process.
Okay.
So
okay.
now that I'm the secretary, if you could just send it to me and I will continue to do the same process that we've been doing.
Okay, and then if we could do that maybe 10 days ahead of the board meeting date, and that would give staff enough time to get with myself and Vice Chair Hayes and Councilor Graffita and RJ to let them know what we've got going, to see if we need any input or additional input. Because if I understand, you're wanting to do this a week out to get it finalized to the rest of the board a week ahead of time. Is that correct, Christina?
I don't have that timeline in front of me. I'm sorry.
I was thinking that's what you had said before. You would like to have a week,
At least a
at a
week,
time.
yeah.
and then
Yes.
that gives you time, and then y'all get it out the Friday before without any problem. So
Yes,
if
yes.
everybody kind of seeing things in by 10 days prior to, of course, if you have something come up, it's not a problem. We can always accommodate it. But if you can, maybe 10 days prior to, get it to Christina, and then she will in turn turn around and contact myself and Vice Chair Hayes and Councilor Graffita and RJ, and we can try to do an agenda, get it set forth and get it sent out to everybody a week ahead of time in case somebody does have anything they want to change or something. Does that work? See there, stayed on course, Counselor. Future agenda items. All right.
Be good.
Anyone have anything else? Okay, then I entertain a motion to adjourn. First, I want to thank everyone for coming. I know it was a long meeting. Hopefully we can get things worked out and ironed out. We won't have such long meetings, but I do appreciate everybody's time and efforts. So entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Yo.